week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
Lee.
Don't throw up, you two.
No, we're fine now.
Are you both better?
I haven't for minutes now.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, Dan and Chris. Couldn't make it for Friday's emergency show.
Good job on Friday, guys. That
Yes,
sounded
yeah.
really well.
Enjoyed listening to that.
Yeah, we had all of about half an hour to put that together, and thank you very much to Sean Kelly for stepping in at the last minute.
Absolutely.
He is a decent enough replacement for me and Chris, isn't
I
he?
think so.
Not quite as good, but he'll do in a pinch.
It's just one of those things. Me and Paul just had to get away with like raw charisma and talent.
So, electronic drum kits then.
Yeah.
Right, that's the second show we've mentioned electronic drum kits on. Are you happy now, Sean?
Yeah, he should be.
Yeah. Should we do the news?
I like them.
Should we do the news first that doesn't involve Nico Rosberg?
Let's.
Because there is actually some.
There's quite a bit, actually,
There
given
is.
that it's December.
Nothing happens in December. Oh, hang on. We said this last year, and we were going to take a break, and then everything happened, and we didn't. And well, happening
Here
again.
we are.
And this year there's more stuff happened, and we're 5 days in
Yeah,
at the time of recording.
Now-
And we really need hobbies.
we've got one. This. I mean, this was going to be week one of the season review.
Was.
We're not going to make the season review start, are we?
We might, if things keep happening at the rate that they're happening, we might be able to start the season review before next season starts.
Just.
Yeah. If not, stuff happened. Rosberg won the title.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, we certainly can't do the season preview until we know what's going on with this fucking car.
Someone's going to be in it. Anyway, no, but we're not talking about this now anyway. We've got other things.
Yeah, we have.
We have.
What's this first on the news?
First on the news, and these first two things on the news are actually two things that have happened today, on a Monday,
Which
not
is
on a
incredible.
Tuesday morning.
So what the hell is going to happen on Tuesday? We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think I've got a vague idea. But the first thing is, the French Grand Prix is back from 2018.
Excellent,
2018.
but not at Magny-Cours.
Not at Magny-Cours, they're going back to Paul Ricard. And apparently they are going to use the full-length circuit again for the first time since 1985, when they changed it after Elio De Angelis sadly lost his life in a testing crash.
But the interesting thing about Paul Ricard is the grandstands are so out of date.
They're not anymore.
And the infrastructure surrounding the circuit needs updating.
Which is why it's coming back in 2018, so they've got a chance to update it.
So they've got a contract for 2018, but it's conditional.
It's conditional. Now, the contract with F1, on the F1 side, has been signed by a certain Mr. Eccleston, who signs all the F1 contracts for circuits.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the contract, it's been signed by the circuit's owners. Who owns Paul Ricard?
Oh, yeah. Bernie Eccleston.
Yeah.
or rather, one of his companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of his companies owns Paul Ricard circuit.
Yeah, so
they changed a lot of it as well, didn't they? For it to be concrete runoff areas in quite a lot of places as well.
They've got rid of all those because it used to be called the Paul Ricard High Speed Testing Circuit.
Yeah.
They've now removed High Speed Testing Circuit from all the signage.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're taking all the varying surface runoff areas off because they used to experiment with
Sprinklers?
Yep, they've got the sprinklers there. They've got the different kind of slow down areas for cars that have gone off just to test for other Formula One circuits.
Yeah.
And I think Herman Tilke's got like a private box there where he can put his clipboard and take notes.
It makes sense them be racing there because they test there, don't they? What is it? One of the pre-season tests is usually at Paul Ricard, isn't it?
No, it's for the last couple of years. It's been Pirelli that have tested the.
Right.
Pirelli have done the wet weather testing there because they've got the sprinklers
They've got
fitted.
the sprinklers.
Yeah,
So, but
anything that's wet testing, I think, has been done at Paul Ricard.
But it would make sense if with it being such a good test track, and it being in Europe as well, so it would save the team some money, and it would mean that because where do we test now?
Barcelona.
Barcelona it's just Barcelona.
Is 2017? There's two tests, one in Bahrain, one in Barcelona.
I think I don't know if that's been confirmed yet because I've seen that many stories that it is.
The
and then it
Bahrain
isn't.
one was a Pirelli tyre test for the teams, wasn't it? If I remember.
That was what just happened.
No, it's what's going to happen in February as well.
Oh
Yeah,
right, so they've just had one and they're having another one.
Yeah.
This is what
Open to all
if I remember
teams.
right. Yeah, it was open to all of the teams, and Red Bull was saying, well, if Pirelli want to pay for us to go there, we'll go there.
Yeah.
because Pirelli have been paying for Red Bull to be testing their tyres already anyway. Pierre Gasly testing in Abu Dhabi for the 2017 tyres on a 2015 Red Bull.
Isn't Bahrain fucking ridiculous?
Well, they're not. Actually, I've just looked. They're not having it.
They're not doing it now?
Nope.
It's cancelled anyway, so scrap that.
2017 winter testing schedule, February 27th to March 2nd, Barcelona. March 7th to March 10th, Barcelona.
That's the winter testing, but is there a tyre test before that?
Not publicly released.
Right, okay. Even if there was, we probably wouldn't have gotten the times for it or any data from it. It's just a case of the teams getting used to the tyres.
But some photos would be nice at least.
Yeah.
Tell you what though, the every circuit they go to this year with the new tyres and the lack of tyre testing, realistically, there's going to be some fucking hell breaths there.
I think so. Pirelli have given all the tyre tests to the top 3 teams, haven't they? Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. And essentially Pirelli's stance on the situation has been the lower teams should be grateful to the top teams for taking the time out of their really busy schedules to test these new tyres for you so that you can see how they work. So, well, should they really?
It's very Tory of Pirelli.
It is, isn't it? It's very Theresa May. More David Cameron, actually. But yeah, it's not the...
Pirelli want to have their cake and eat it.
Exactly, yeah. It's not the... nearly said something else then.
Don't say it, baby.
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. But yeah, it's not fair, in my opinion, that the lower teams, and I'm talking the ones who are already going to be slightly disadvantaged due to budget restraints, like
force India downwards.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Force India
with the
downwards.
probable exception of Toro Rosso.
Yeah, Manor and Sauber especially, massive budget restraints on those two. Aren't going to get to see the tyres unless Pirelli pay for them to go to a tyre test, or they're just not going to see them, are they, until the first test, and they're not going to have any idea how they're going to work, how they're going to be able to build their car aerodynamically or power unit wise in order to transfer the power through the wheels onto the rubber onto the road. I mean, yes, they've got the dimensions, they'll have sample tyres, but nothing.
The only thing they're going to be able to do
data.
is sort of plug all the data that they get from these tyre tests when the compounds are settled on into the simulators, and just hope to God they've got accurate data.
Yeah,
well, hopefully Paul can put a picture of this up on.
Lee's found a picture.
Thing. Yeah, I've got a picture of the Ferrari testing.
This makes for great radio.
Yeah, well,
I'll put it on. I'll put it on the site.
Hopefully,
on the site and on the Facebook page.
It's from the test, and it's a picture of the Ferrari on the test. Now, were Ferrari running a modified car to go with the tyres?
2015.
They were running a 2015 car with...
No, 2014.
Was it a 2014 car?
Yeah.
With aero modifications to...
Because they've got a massive rear wing.
So, yeah, it would be the...
Yeah, that's the 20... Oh, no, I think it was 2015. 2015
It's an old car with next year's aero. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that rear wing is a lot bigger.
Yeah, but when you look at that picture, and people will either go now, hopefully, to the site or to the Facebook page and have a look at this picture of this Ferrari that we've put up. If you look at the picture,
give us the traffic. Don't just go to Google.
Yeah, look at how wide the tyres are on that car, and then think of the fact that the car is going to be even wider anyway. Yeah. I'm kind of excited about it.
I'm excited about it.
It's going to be really good.
But again, this makes me wonder how useful... I mean, obviously the tyre testing is useful, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But when you consider that they're doing the testing on an old car with new bits bolted to it, it's how does that really work?
Well, if you think about the differences between degrading rubber, Pirelli were told that their tyres degraded too quickly.
Yeah,
they're not degrading enough. These top teams that have had...
I think the phrase you're looking for is can't bloody win.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think they've just been told to build tyres that'll last now, haven't they?
I'm not sure, but I don't mind if performance falls off the... if there's a performance fall off, so long as safety-wise they can still go round for the next few laps just to get them to within the next pit stop window. But the top teams will have that data also given to Pirelli and also for themselves as to how that compound or the compounds, whatever it is that they've tested, how they behave under certain duress, under sliding cars. Can you slide the car easier because it's wider? Can you not slide the car at all? Does it just eat up the rubber?
But that's for me. But
does it-
without cars that are actually wider when they're testing them.
Yeah,
don't
but
know any of this
exactly. Yeah, this is the thing. But I mean, they'll have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas the further down the grid teams, McLaren being one of them actually, aren't going to have a clue. Well, they'll have a little bit of a clue from Pirelli, but all they'll have is Pirelli's data.
Yeah.
Whereas the top 3 teams have got Pirelli's data and their own.
I'd also guess as well that the teams, even though they're doing tests and they'll be giving data to Pirelli.
I think Pirelli take their own data. They got their own sort of telemetry system.
Yeah, but I'm sure the teams will be feeding back to them as well. But I'm sure that they're going to be keeping cards close to their chest because they don't want, like for instance, that wing that's on the back of that Ferrari. I bet that's like a dimension thing. There's no way that.
Oh yeah, that won't be the finished article that you see on the car next season.
Or anything close to it.
That will be a wing made to this year's aerodynamic specifications, aero-wise, but width and height and length-wise
comparison
will be next year's.
Would it not be we're expecting X newtons of downforce from next year's car? So this is a wing that gives X newtons of downforce.
Yeah, could well be.
Probably. But that's what I mean. But if you say,
I'll tell you what, a boilerplate wing.
Yeah.
As I don't know what number.
It says lorem ipsum on it.
as I don't know what.
That'll be good for McLaren. It'll mean they've got a new title sponsor.
As I don't know.
But anyway, Lee, what were you going to?
Hell, go away. I don't know what.
Just one other thing.
Doesn't matter. No.
You're just going to sit there and play Candy Crush now, aren't you?
No, I'm not playing Candy Crush.
Go on, tell us.
No,
we're sorry.
No.
Okay, moving swiftly on.
I'm going to sit and watch YouTube videos. Do you know what? That was a random advert. That was a random YouTube advert.
Very nice.
They have profiled you.
Oh yeah, fucking it's owned by Google.
Based on his browsing history, it could have been one or two things, and I'm glad it was motor racing.
I'm sorry, Patreons.
This isn't Patreons, this is listeners.
I know, but I'm just saying.
He's just apologising for earlier for that image.
Yeah.
Basically, whatever a Newton is.
It's a kind of biscuit with figs in the middle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a figgy biscuit?
It's a fig Newton.
What?
That's what it's called.
But
we're talking about
but we know them as fig rolls.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Fig rolls.
Yeah.
Right.
Are they really called Newtons?
Internationally, they're called fig Newtons. It's just we call them fig rolls over here.
Oh, they're fucking horrible.
Newtons is how you measure.
I know.
It's force. Yeah.
I know. But I don't know how many. I don't know how many newtons a fucking rear wing is supposed to produce. Essentially, so I'm just going to say hamsters. So say like that wing they've got on is producing 54 hamsters of pressure on the rear tires. Yeah. So they turn around and they say and Pirelli say to them, so what are you expecting next year? They're going to say 54 hamsters weight like of downforce. Really, they're thinking 75. So they're essentially going to be fucking lying to who they're doing the test for.
Well, what Pirelli have been doing for the most recent tyre tests?
And we're measuring it in guinea pigs.
No, they've been testing out different formulas for each compound. So on one day they'll have a Red Bull running version 1 of the soft tyre, and then at the same time on the track they'll have a Mercedes running version 2.
Yeah,
and then they've been taking the data from them. All they've been working out is what so far from what stories have been released is They're just trying to work out how they are going to make each compound next
Right,
year.
so the compounds haven't actually been finalised yet.
No.
In which case, the top teams may not have so much of an advantage over the lower
Well,
teams.
they don't tell them what compounds they're running either, do they?
They're
know,
all blandly coloured.
No, they know if they're running what hardness they're running.
Yeah.
Because they didn't last year.
No, but they're doing that this time.
Right. Okay.
So they know what tyre compounds they're running, but they don't know which version they're running,
Right.
and they don't know if they're. So the Mercedes will be running a different soft tyre to the Red
Yeah, but
Bull, and the
what-
Ferrari will be running a third type of soft tyre.
So
And
version 1 and version 2 of the super soft tyres are the same colour red.
Yeah.
There we go. It's
So-
just Pirelli that knows.
Pirelli are just going to the teams and going, there is your set of super softs.
Super soft harder.
Yeah. But it could be
Super Soft 2.0.
So it's basically a blind test in scientific terms.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Pirelli know what the teams are running,
Super soft.
but the teams don't know what they've got bolted to the car.
Super soft
So-
with a vengeance.
It could be a good day to super soft.
Yippee-ki-yay, Super Softers.
Super soft 2 electric boogaloo.
Motherfucker! Now I've got a super soft.
I think it was ho ho ho, not ha ha ha.
Don't know.
Yeah.
It's not Christmas yet.
But are we all in agreement that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Of course
Yes.
it is.
Do you know what I'm made up with as well? I lied to everybody because I think it was on the either the last.
And you're
podcast
made up
we
about
did.
that.
No, no.
You should be ashamed, Lee.
I am.
Well, no,
but
we made up lying.
I can fix it now. Did I say on this podcast last week or the week before I was upset because Batman Returns wasn't on the Sky Christmas movies?
No,
I can't
No.
remember that.
I thought it was on this
I-
podcast.
I think
Anyway,
that was on Banter
it
Club.
might have been on Banter Club.
No, it wasn't.
It might have been on the secret one we record.
It might have been a real podcast. It might have been a real conversation with people without microphones.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
But yeah, Batman Returns is on Sky Christmas movies.
There you go.
Well, yeah, I suppose it deserves to be.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of Christmas movies, somebody I know claims Cool Runnings is a Christmas film.
No.
Because it's got snow in it. It's set at the bloody Winter Olympics. Of course it's got snow in it.
This person is an idiot.
Do you want me to tell you who it is?
Yes.
You used to go out with her.
Ah! Wrong. Idiot. Cool Runnings is not a Christmas movie.
No, but
Nope.
Stop saying that about my mum.
but apparently this is what school teachers are teaching the next generation, that Cool Runnings is a Christmas movie.
It isn't.
No.
No.
Nope. Subject closed.
Feel the rhythm, feel the ride.
Come on,
It's
Dan.
Christmas time.
It's Formula One time.
Moving about as far away from Christmas films as you can get, we'll talk about something that's happening next summer. And it's not the European Grand Prix.
The
No,
Mighty Ducks.
the European Grand Prix is not happening in 2017.
It's still there's still a Grand Prix happening in Azerbaijan, because it's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
That makes more sense.
Which makes more sense than having a European Grand Prix that's not in Europe.
That's further east than Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they should host the European Grand Prix itself. Oh, no.
No.
Donington.
Then that would involve being in Europe.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't. No.
Just like Stoffels. Brexit sounds like a food as well, doesn't it?
Mm.
Like
It
it'd
does.
be loads of bran.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
So Azerbaijan is actually becoming the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
It's now going to be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix,
Yeah.
not the Europe-Bajan.
No, the reason, if you read the press release as to why they've changed the name to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix,
I was just about to ask why they would do.
but it's to do with the last year we had the effect of the European Grand Prix. Everybody got the fact that Azerbaijan is tied into Europe because we did the European Grand Prix, and did they do the European Games there as well?
Yes.
Early last year.
Yes, they did.
So everybody now knows that Azerbaijan is in Europe. So there's no need to call it the European GP anymore. So it's now just the Azerbaijan Grand Prix because everybody already knows.
Propaganda succeeded.
Yes. I wonder if they'll put up those strange mesh buildings in front of those actual buildings again.
Azerbaijan Grand Prix, this 2017 team will be its last year.
Do you think?
You reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be one of those ones. It'll be like
The other
India
day.
or just these countries that spend a load of money building a circuit, and then Formula One goes, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I had a go on the Baku City circuit for the first time on F1 2016 the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is going to be a pig of a circuit. I actually don't mind it. It's
No,
all right.
I don't
actually.
mind it.
I like it. There's a few tricky corners, aren't there?
Yeah, but it's quite good.
It flows.
Yeah, it's all right actually.
Yeah, I think.
So, yeah.
I think if they do get rid of it off the calendar from 2018, it will actually be a loss because it seems to be a good circuit. It's just a shame that
It was a terrible race.
Oh yeah. The race was awful.
I don't see that getting better, to be perfectly honest, especially not next year with wider cars.
No, exactly. It's fast, but there's nowhere to pass.
In fact, thinking that wider cars through that fucking stupid chicane.
You might just get one through.
Well, you will only get one through.
Yeah, I think what they'll have to do is remove that. You know, as you go up past the old castle there.
Remove the castle.
No, remove the curb on the left there. Just remove it completely and let the cars just go straight up.
I think that curb's there because there's something there.
An actual curb.
Yeah. I think there's I think it's a bit of castle.
Right.
That's what's making the chicane.
Yeah.
I might be completely wrong and lying again.
we're all made up
So, yeah,
about that.
so it's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from 2017 onwards.
Yes. Next thing I've got on the list is the British Racing Drivers Club,
BRDC.
the BRDC. Kind of local news, really, ish. I
A
guess.
little bit, yeah. People familiar with the Isle of Man and the Isle of Man TT will be very well versed as to who John McGuinness is.
Yep, drinking cronies with Mark Webber.
Absolutely, yeah. Very good friends with Formula One drivers, namely Mark Webber. And
Turns up a lot in the Mercedes garage as well at various races.
Yeah, it has turned up in the Mercedes garage in Formula One races before as well.
Sponsored by Monster, so...
That's exactly what I was about to say. And he has...
Sorry, powered by Monster.
Is he on 23 or 24 TT wins now?
Lots.
23, I think.
Yeah, heading towards the record, isn't
He's
he?
3 behind the record held by Joey Dunlop for Isle of Man TT victories, which of course on 2 wheels, not 4. But he's been made an honorary member of the British Racing Drivers Club, and the amount of people who came out just to see John McGuinness become an honorary member of the BRDC was crazy. Nigel Mansell was there,
Ex-Isle of Man resident.
of course, yeah, ex-Isle of Man resident, another local connection there, and both of his sons, of course, born on the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
And Damon Hill,
Who overtook you on Douglas Promenade during the Manx
Hill.
Grand Prix.
Yes, he did in August. And
Not in the race, it needs to be pointed out.
no,
Yeah. No, it was at some
No.
traffic lights.
yeah. And
It was
Mark
a race
Webber.
in your mind.
No, it wasn't. I saw Damon. I saw that distinctive blue helmet with there was a London Rowing Club with
Yeah.
with the and a straightaway because I knew he was on the island. I was like, Damon Hill. So I just sort of looked up and sort of beeped my horn, and he just sort of stopped and looked at me. I was like, that's his eyes. That's Damon Hill. I was like,
You actually got to see his Twitter profile picture for real.
yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely. And I sort of I beat my horn, and when he looked, I sort of put my thumb up, and Damon, and he sort of put his thumb up, and then he rode off. So yeah, that was very cool. And Mark Webber as well. A lot of people, Mark Webber's Australian, but I'm pretty sure he's a member of the BRDC. There's a lot of famous people from around motorsport coming together to celebrate one person who's revered in motorsport, perhaps less well known outside of our circle, should we say, and our sort of little bubble on the Isle of Man here. If you don't know who John McGuinness is, go and check him out.
Absolutely.
Google him as a
Fantastic bike racer, but in his own words, is a brickie that's a bit fast.
yeah, essentially a bricklayer who's really good at riding motorcycles.
Next up, we've got the Autosport Awards. Traditional end of season shenanigans.
Yeah.
Shindig, that's the word I was looking for.
Well, yeah, they do shenanigans as well.
Sponsored by Mercedes this year, I believe.
Well, no, you'd be surprised.
I think they were sponsored by Autosport.
There's also a Damon Hill story here as well, but I'll let you carry on with it with the rest of the.
Right, as I haven't got my glasses accessible, Chris, I'm going to pass the list over to you, and you can read this one out.
All right, okay. Well, I'll do the Damon Hill story in a minute. Well, basically, Mercedes kind of wiped the floor with everything Formula One related at Autosport.
Would that be because they kind of wiped the floor with everything in Formula One?
Well, it's the only reason I can come up with for anything, because I can't think of anybody else who might have won anything when you look at the categories that they've won.
Can I just ask, how many of these categories were Formula One categories, and how many of these are all motorsport?
International Driver of the Year is the
Sounds
category.
like it could be open to anyone in any motorsport.
Yeah, there was a separate one for
Who won it? Which driver?
Nico Rosberg. That was International Driver of the Year. There was a separate one for Rally and things like that, but I don't think it was like International Rally Driver of the Year. This was just International Driver of the Year. British Competition Driver of the Year. Lewis Hamilton. Car of the Year, Racing Car of the Year. The Mercedes W07. Rookie of the Year. Pascal Wehrlein.
Why? No, but why?
Which other rookies were there? Harry Anto,
No, but
who lasted half a season.
But is that just Formula One?
No, it's just Rookie of the Year, Autosport Rookie of the Year award. So there's nobody been a rookie in motorsport anywhere that's been as good as Pascal Wehrlein.
I don't believe that.
Well, this is the award.
I would believe that there's nobody in motorsport anywhere that's done as well as Pascal Wehrlein that Autosport can be bothered researching.
He did get points in a manner.
He did.
He did it in a certain manner, but it was but there was shenanigans.
And also the award, and I've got to hold my hands up here and say I'm not sure exactly what this award is for, but it's the John Bolster Award. Went to Paddy Lowe. So, Paddy Lowe, you are John Bolster? I don't know.
Did they get the BFF Drivers Award?
It's like a recognition of achievement, I believe. The Lifetime Achievement Award didn't actually go to anyone in Mercedes. It went to Nigel Mansell. So it was nice to see Nigel Mansell win something.
That was the Gregor Grant Award.
It was, yes. But the handing the International Driver of the Year award to Nico Rosberg was Damon Hill. And Damon Hill said, I'd like to welcome Nico Rosberg to the club of sons of world champions who are also world champions. He said, but by the way, there might only be two of us in it, but I'm the president of the club and you're the vice president. because even in a club of two, there needs to be a boss.
Good man.
So a nice little bit of banter there from Damon Hill. So that brings us on nicely to the whole Nico Rosberg situation and the.
I was just going to say there was one other. The McLaren Award for best young driver of the year.
I forgot to write Lando's name down.
Yeah, coolest possible name for anyone. Lando Norris, the BRDC Young Driver Award, gets a McLaren test.
Yeah, gets a McLaren test, and does he get a year's spot on the McLaren Young Driver program as well? Or did I misread?
No, he gets a paid simulator role with McLaren.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, so he gets to be with McLaren for a while, and hopefully he's a British club driver.
British club driver of the year.
Yeah. So that's amazing.
Could be a rapid promotion if what Lee wants to happens.
I'm just quickly though.
Is he only 17? I think.
He is. Yes.
Let's think about like from the Autosport and is it British Racing Driver Association thing he won?
BRDC.
Yeah. Let's look at the guys that have won that award and gone to McLaren in the past.
Oliver Gavin.
Turvey.
Oliver Turvey.
Oliver Turvey. What was the other guy?
Did Gary Paffett
Gary
win it?
Paffett. all the greats.
Gary Paffett actually was actually put forward, I saw on Twitter, as a potential replacement for Nico Rosberg by one person.
Mrs. Paffett.
No, not even Gary Paffett himself. It was put forward by, and I believe it was Derek Warwick.
Yeah.
There have been a few previous successes in this award. David Coulthard.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
I was just talking about the ones that have gone to McLaren.
Jenson Button.
Ah.
Yeah, no, he didn't go straight from that to McLaren.
No.
He didn't go into their young drivers program.
Yeah.
Gary Paffett, Anthony Davidson, Alex Lloyd, Paul di Resta,
Paul di Resta.
and everybody else. Yeah, okay.
Everybody else that we just mentioned.
The award's grand, but it seems when you win that and go to McLaren, you get benched for like your career,
Yeah.
and then you end up in Formula E.
So yeah, Rosberg things.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things.
Yeah, there's been obviously you guys covered it very well on Friday with the breaking of the news that Nico Rosberg was retiring from the sport and won't be defending his title.
So yeah, I
next
think
year.
I think we need Chris and Dan. I think we need your feedback on this because
Yeah.
me and Lee have reached the top of the mountain when it comes to Nico Rosberg discussions, and I think it's time for us to step back.
I think so.
I have a theory on a Nico Rosberg replacement after giving it a little bit of thought, and I know Dan has his own thoughts as well. I think everybody individually has their own thoughts on who might replace Nico Rosberg.
All right, I was going to say, yes, people do tend to individually have their own thoughts. It's how humans work.
Not under the Tory government, it isn't.
Not according to 7 of 9 over here.
But yeah, my train of thought. Is
We are 3
basically-
legs, 4 wheels. You will be assimilated.
all the subliminal messages we put in this podcast that nobody picks up on, or do they?
Resistance is unaccepted.
And will be frowned upon greatly.
Treated very harshly.
Subscribe to Patreon.
No, you've had to do it backwards. Subscribe to Patreon.
No, that was just forward.
That was forwards in a stupid voice.
I've been watching. I've been watching Twin Peaks again. It's the the dwarf that talks backwards.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never
But
seen
forwards.
it. I'm too young.
Anyway.
Carry on.
Yeah, my theory about who will replace Nico Rosberg. I don't believe that with Rosberg being out of the sport now, I don't think Mercedes will look to either Pascal Wehrlein or Esteban Ocon. I don't think they have had enough time in the sport or in their respective cars.
Or shown that they're good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they haven't shown that they're good enough. And in a season where we all believe that Mercedes are going to be challenged quite closely, at least at the beginning part of next year, they need somebody who's going to be able to hold the fort for them. And if anything happens to Lewis, they're going to have to be there taking points off the other teams. Probably Red Bull.
You say everyone has their own thoughts, but I think we share this one.
Yeah. So not Pascal Wehrlein for me. Not Esteban Ocon for me. And then you look, you sort of filter down and you think, well, could they prize Sergio Perez away from Force India, as Paul mentioned on Friday's podcast? I don't think they could, unless they're going to, and same with Valtteri Bottas, I don't think they prize either of them away from those teams, purely because I don't think those teams would let it happen unless those engines came to them for pretty much free. And Mercedes aren't going to do that because neither Perez or Bottas are worth losing that much money.
Just a quick note there on Perez that I hadn't thought of before.
Carry on.
Sorry, I'm being stabbed in the stomach by my own belt. Just carry on.
Right, okay. So we thought he was having a moment. I thought
Sergio got excited by Sergio Perez. He stood up and pulled a face.
our Patreon listeners will understand this. You haven't got your lid caught, have you?
No, my belt buckle was kind of stabbing me.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I don't think Perez or Bottas are worth Mercedes giving Force India or Williams that massive discount.
But what you said about Perez there, which I hadn't thought of until you said it, let's not forget that Perez's sponsors picked his seat.
Yeah, and if Perez goes to Mercedes, they can't get their names on that Mercedes car. They just won't be able to. They might have it on his cap, but
Perez's sponsors arguably stopped him making the best move he could have made.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
You know, they stopped him going to a works team because they wanted something to do with Force India.
Yeah, now there are some sort of questions as to whether or not Mercedes inquired as to how watertight Nico Hülkenberg's contract was with Renault, but that's besides the point. It detracts from my theory, goddammit. So I don't see that Mercedes will be able to take either Bottas or Perez for those exact reasons. And also those two teams have got new drivers coming in, and they're going to want a little bit of stability because struggling budget-wise anyway. So then you look outside of Mercedes within Formula One and you think, well, Sebastian Vettel is tied into Ferrari until at least the end of 2017, and he might have fallen out with Arriva Bene a little bit. And Arriva Bene has said that he's going to have to earn his drive after 2017. But I don't think Vettel is... I think he's an honourable man. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's just the kind of guy who... Unless it was agreeable with everyone...
Or it was sort of coming towards the end of his term with Red Bull and he decided to cut his contract short.
And
Vettel has a history of saying, I'm done with this contract. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, he does. He does have a history of saying, I'm going to Ferrari next year, as he did with Red Bull.
But his contract was up that year, wasn't it?
No, he left a year early.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Yeah, he did leave a year early. But with this being... He said that at the Singapore Grand Prix, I think it was, or the Italian Grand Prix, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So that was like mid-season when he decided he was leaving. The only seats before Rosberg retired that were up for grabs was one at Sauber and, as we knew it at the time, probably one at Manor.
Two.
Yeah, but there's two. Probably,
Two. Well, it was two at Manor because Berline still hasn't been confirmed.
Hasn't been confirmed, but he probably will be. We're not sure. We don't know.
We know even less now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same for Alonso as well. McLaren are not stupid, and they will have that contract tied in very strongly with Fernando Alonso. It won't just be a case of Mercedes being like, we'll just pay you all the money that you want and we'll get Fernando Alonso in to race this car for us. Now, for me, Alonso would be, like Sean said on the podcast on Friday, Alonso would be the strongest option for the team to go for, because Alonso's going to push Hamilton, Hamilton's going to push Alonso, and you could undoubtedly say that Alonso is a more talented driver than Nico Rosberg, but you can't say that Mercedes are going to take a step back from that. But with it being so late in the season, and Niki Lauda and Toto Wolff both saying, we need a driver to come into this car, we need to know who we're going to have before the end of December, so that when beginning of February rolls around, they've already done enough work on that simulator that they can get into that car and drive it without any question, knowing what they're doing.
That's an experienced Formula One driver.
An experienced Formula One driver. So, my theory being that you need an experienced Formula One driver who is already available, and Mercedes won't have to do too much wrangling to get hold of him. I have to look to who we mentioned just before we moved on to this section of the podcast, Paul di Resta. He's under contract with Mercedes as a DTM driver. He's Williams' reserve driver for 2016, and his amount of knowledge of racing, for a man who's, I think he's only 30, he's younger than Nico Rosberg, is astounding. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Mercedes pulled Paul di Resta in for 1 year. I put him in for a year and said, look, this is your second bite of the cherry, if you will, in Formula One. Have a year in this car, show us what you can do, be up there, and if you're as good as we think you are, and we thought you were at Force India, then here's your chance to prove it. If you're not, then we're just going to get somebody else in who we let's be honest, we really wanted this year, but we just couldn't get them.
I've had another thought based on that, and it's a name that we've not actually mentioned yet in connection with this, but we've all been saying how good he is and how much of a waste it is that he's not driving an F1 car. Jean-Eric Verne.
Tied into
Formula halfway through,
fans have said that, but I've not heard anyone in the know mentioning.
Yeah,
Jean-Eric
and don't forget that it does seem to once you've been washed through the Red Bull ring, you do tend to come out soiled.
At least Ferrari have picked him up for some things.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I like how you put it together with Paul di Resta. The only thing I'd think about that would be, I would have thought that there would have been at least rumblings that if they were going to... Because let's not forget, when did he last drive? 2014? 13.
But he has driven the car he's driven an old car for Williams during TV testing. Basically. And
is he Formula One fit? That'd be the first question.
That would be a question. But it wouldn't take a driver too long, I don't think, switch from DTM to Formula One. Exactly what Pascal Wehrlein and Esteban Ocon have done.
Yeah,
but not going into a
top flight team,
top flight car with the biggest acceleration and braking forces.
Yeah. No,
I'd argue the rest would be as much of a gamble as Ocon and Wehrlein.
I think he would be less of a gamble because of his experience, his level-headedness in intense situations, and the fact that he pushed that Force India car.
Oh yeah, he should have stayed in that team.
Well,
he didn't deserve to be dropped.
We've been applauding Sergio Perez for his couple of podiums he scored. Paul Di Resta was seconds away from podiums
in a worse car.
3 or 4 times in that 2013 season. He finished third, I think, fourth 3 times. Yeah. So he's essentially the Gutierrez of the podium.
The only thing I'd say with that is I think if I think if he was looked at as a guy that should be in Formula One now, I think even if he didn't get the drive, there would have been talks about him getting the Williams seat, and nobody mentioned Paul Di Resta when it came to the Williams seat.
I think if he should be in Formula One now, he'd probably be in a car now.
Yeah, which is understandable.
But there was an interesting thing you mentioned before.
It's an easy thing for Mercedes to do.
Yeah.
To pick up one of their own drivers. You know what you're doing. Just give us a year, because, all right, you've got a year. If you can't show us what we need, you've had a year. You've had another year in Formula One.
Yeah.
What have you got to lose?
Right, but there was an interesting thing that I hadn't thought of before, because I didn't realise that Vettel got out of his contract a year early. If that sets any sort of precedent, doesn't that mean that anybody's on the market? If Red Bull can lose their 3 times world champion, and he was 4-time world champion, and let's face it,
it was only 3 when he said he was going.
He was
no, it was 4.
No, it was 4.
Yeah, he didn't win a world championship in his last year in Red Bull.
Did he?
And he was
brain fart.
Yeah, but he was totes Red Bull's bay.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there was a performance clause in Sebastian Vettel's contract, because that year he was below par, and the car was not on the boil either. So I'm wondering if that combination of the two things triggered a clause in the contract that said Sebastian Vettel could walk away from the team.
Yeah, well, let's not pretend then. There is absolutely no way that Fernando Alonso went to McLaren with that performance clause in that contract with a new, new setup. There is no way a man with that experience and that management.
But then you've got Ron Dennis on the other side, who, all right, okay, fair enough, he's not at McLaren now, but he will have made sure that contract with Fernando Alonso's was not easy to get out of.
Yeah, he'd have been negotiating that contract with Flavio Briatore.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing to consider is that Toto Wolff has come out and said that they are not going to interfere with Ferrari internal politics,
and McLaren. He said both.
McLaren as well.
He said it would be his least favourite way to do it.
Yeah, never believe anything until it's been officially denied.
No, like I said on our little Facebook chat. I think he doesn't want to destabilise Ferrari because they're quite good at destabilising themselves. And it's probably more of
don't give them a common enemy.
Yeah, it's more of an advantage to Mercedes to leave Ferrari, to just self-implode by themselves anyway.
Ferrari are busy shooting themselves in the foot anyway. Why would Toto bother giving them another gun?
Yeah.
Here's an outside one. It's someone that's not been involved in Formula One for a couple of years.
Max Chilton.
Nigel Mansell.
No, this is somebody that actually was involved in Formula One when he was in Formula One.
No.
Fits the bill with Mercedes by being German.
I'll drive your Benzo.
Adrian Sutil.
No.
Outside bet.
No.
Good for a season.
No, he won't be teammates with Lewis Hamilton.
There have been before.
Yeah, but he won't be now because Lewis Hamilton testified against him in the court case.
When he glassed somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll roll that one out. Yeah, okay, I forgot about that.
Right, so what I'm thinking about this is coming at it from the angle of what Mercedes are going to be looking for.
Oh no, Hamilton didn't testify. He didn't turn up in court.
Oh, he didn't turn up in court?
No, it was at the car launch at the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was the only person that was with Satil, and he was the only person that could get him off. So if that's not essentially testifying against somebody...
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What were you saying?
Sorry. Yeah. So, why am I apologising? You bastard! You interrupted me.
Yeah, carry on.
Welcome to my world.
You do it all the time, Lee.
I know.
So yeah.
Sorry.
What?
Come on, children.
What Mercedes are going to be after is, first of all, Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
Second of all, 1-2 at as many races as possible. Thirdly, Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, well, they've actually said a Drivers' Championship is as important as Constructors.
Okay,
So
so
it's not, is it?
it's not really.
Not really, no.
But they want to take the Drivers' Championship. That is definitely up there. And
Yeah.
they want 1-2 in the races. So, nightmare scenario for them next year would be to be in a three-way battle and have two of their drivers lose out on the World Championship, World Drivers' Championship, because they were fighting too hard with each other. So, someone like Vettel, Ricciardo.
Fighting with Hamilton as a teammate.
But I'd argue the worst situation.
Well, yeah. So someone from another team nips in and gets first place in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah.
So, what they should be looking for, and this isn't a prediction of what they're going to do. This is me giving my advice to Toto and Nikki. I know they regularly listen and pay me handsomely for my consultancy.
Toto occasionally does pop up on the podcast, as we know.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
What they should be doing is looking for someone who's going to be nipping at Lewis's heels, but only taking 1 or 2 race wins off him, not half a season.
Yeah, I think the decision that whatever decision they've made today as Mercedes, we know they were having quite a big meeting today with senior engineers and top brass, if you will, of the team. It has to be first and foremost what direction the team has to go in. Are they going to try and keep it as it was with Hamilton and Rosberg? We'll basically treat them as equals, or are they going? Is it now the time when they're like, we can treat this like Ferrari did during the Schumacher era and have Hamilton as our Schumacher, and push him. And have just a really good backup driver to make sure that he follows up when when we need him to.
I don't see them
Already Irvine.
Yeah. I don't see them going for a formal 1-2. You're the winner.
I don't.
You're not the winner. But I do see them trying to make sure they don't get 2 drivers who are each going to win half the races.
The only problem is if you've got, you see, what you're saying there is we want to make sure a driver's finishing second indicates that they're going to be the dominant team again next year, and they very well might not be.
No, but I mean, in the team,
I think the risk is
taking
them
points away from each other.
That they don't know that they're going to be the dominant team next year, so they can't risk, or if they want to guarantee the Drivers' Championship, they can't risk their 2 drivers taking those points away from each other.
But
so
they can't guarantee a Drivers' Championship or a Constructors' Championship, and that's why they want the best 2 drivers they can have.
No, but if you've got the best 2 drivers that you have and you are in a fight with another team, you risk taking points off each other.
Yeah, but not the team. The points, the team is still scoring. The points is what they care about the most.
Yeah, but if PR-wise, you also want to win a Drivers' Championship as well, and you don't want to end up with another Hamilton-Alonso 2007 or Hamilton-Rosberg 2014.
I know exactly what you say.
Where you've got them, running into each other, or somebody as less. I don't want to say this, but less obedient, if you will, as than Nico Rosberg. I'm talking Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Where he's not just going to be like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not racing Lewis because you told me to sit behind him. I'm just going to race him anyway. And then they end up taking each other off.
I think apart from Button, any former champion would be willing to push Hamilton off the circuit to win the championship themselves.
Button's a racer, and Button will race for the championship. If because it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Jenson Button could take that second seat, because he had what was it, 4 years at McLaren with Lewis? 3 years at 2010. 3 years. And they were fairly harmonious years between the two of them. They got on quite well.
Yeah, I think the only
they did have Canada 2011 where Lewis
what I
tried to
was gonna
pass
say.
Jensen,
Yeah.
and what was he doing? But they sorted it out because they knew what they were doing. They respected each other.
Yeah.
And they knew that they were both world champions, and they just got on with it. And I don't know if anybody saw, there is a picture floating around on Twitter. Somebody's taken on their phone of Lewis. Lewis went to find Jensen to give him a hug after the Abu Dhabi race, and there's quite Jensen looks a bit goofy in the picture actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a bit of a hug, and say, Lewis was saying, "Well done, man, nice one. You've done well.
See you next year."
See you next year. Maybe, who knows?
I've heard a rumor, mate. Don't hang up your helmet yet.
Yeah. Jensen for me would be a safe bet for Mercedes, but I worry that Jensen's mind is already made up, and he might want to come back in 2018, but he needs 2017.
I don't think he wanted 2017 off. I think he was nerfed out of the team so they could have Stoffel in the car.
Yeah.
If he could have drove that McLaren next year, he'd have done it.
Even if that's the case, I think his mindset now is, I don't have a 2017. Whereas Hamilton, Alonso, most of the drivers now will be thinking, right, winter program, winter training program, Christmas and winter training program.
But don't forget,
and then pre-season testing. Right, okay, I'll relax for a bit, and then I've got to get focused.
Yeah.
Whereas Button, for me, is feet up. Nice,
But
relaxed.
he is contracted to remain race fit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course,
But he is very likely to be going into triathlon training rather than hardcore Formula One training.
Yeah.
But don't forget as well, what we've said all year is, we think, since the contract was done, the sabbatical came around, the reason we thought they were keeping him under contract was because they thought Fernando might fuck off out of the team if the car was shit.
Well, he still might, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. But so as far as if Jensen's been told that, then he's already going to have half a thought in his head of that I might be driving.
Yeah.
So he won't be turned off. And I tell you what, the opportunity to drive the car that's won the championship for the last 3 years, I'm pretty sure that'll pick anybody's pecker up.
Yeah, even
from where he
Felipe Massa
was,
hasn't
yeah.
ruled himself out of the drive, has he? I mean, he probably.
I haven't ruled myself out of the drive either.
No,
But
no.
I don't quite have the super license points yet.
No, I'm not ruling myself out of it either, but that's because I probably couldn't drive the car. So, yeah.
So yeah, I'm not thinking Jenson Button. I was just using him as the example of the one former champion who I think wouldn't be as ruthless as any of the others.
I just don't think Mercedes will miss that marketing opportunity of having Alonso and Hamilton in the same team. That is because let's not forget, we're looking at this from a purely racing standpoint, and we're not thinking about the board members, which are probably
board members will want German in the team.
I don't think so. I think they will look at Hamilton and Alonso as a license to print cash.
It's a possibility.
How much do they want the Rosberg-Hamilton stories times about 100?
I don't think they'll care, because I think it's.
You think they'd take that to have Hamilton and Alonso on the same team?
I think they might take the standpoint of that all publicity is good publicity, and I'd rather have them talking about us. And I bet this, like the Rosberg clash and stuff like that, a Rosberg Hamilton thing all year, I think they fucking loved that. Everything to do with Formula One this year had a fucking Mercedes driver at the helm of it.
Apart from Max Verstappen.
Apart from Max Verstappen, yeah.
And Sweary Vettel.
And Sweary. Well, yeah. I wouldn't say he was grabbing column inches though.
No.
But I still think it'll be Fernando. I do. I really think that.
No, I can't agree with you there. I think I think he
Who
would.
do you think?
Well, this is
Are you
making it
asking?
interesting.
Are you asking who I think it will be, or who I think it should be?
But
Both.
tell me who you think it should be first.
So I am now the Mercedes board. I'm Toto and Nicky and whoever else operates Dr. Zetcher and people like that.
You're Toto and Nicky. You're really, really tall, but your face is weird.
But he's Dr. Zetcher as well, so he's got a huge tash
Yeah.
covering half his face.
Personally, I know you don't agree with this, Lee. I would still go Carlos Sainz.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown himself to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's quite good enough to take the world championship off Lewis,
I think
even if there's a third person fighting for it.
I agree with that.
I think he would be good enough to bring it home in 1-2s if the Mercedes is slightly better than the other cars. So we're not talking about as dominant as at the start of this year.
Yeah.
We're talking about like it is at the end of this year.
Yeah.
He would be good for the team for a few years
Mm-hmm.
if he worked out. It suits Sainz because unless one of Verstappen and Ricciardo wins a world championship and retires, he's not going into Red Bull in the next 3 years or so, at a guess. And the only people it doesn't suit are the Red Bull organisation.
He's already said he's not going to sit around and wait forever to be the Red Bull replacement guy.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Carlos Sainz is, where does he go if he doesn't go to Red Bull? Because he needs that big car to be able to prove himself.
Do you know what the shit thing is? He's going to be in that car till 2019. He's going to be in that
They're
Toro
going to do
or
that
he's
another
gonna
2
drop.
years.
I don't think he's got any choice because the Red Bull have already proven, like they've basically said, we're keeping him there because it's handy. That our contract is obviously ironclad because he tried to go to Renault and they blocked it.
He
Yeah.
tried to go to Renault for the money that Renault were offering Red Bull to buy him out of his contract.
Yeah.
It all depends on how motivated they were to pick him up compared to how motivated Mercedes are to pick him up
Do you know what the-
and
do you know
how
what the problem with Red
motivated
Bull is?
You've
Red
al-
Bull are to keep him.
You've also got now, Red Bull have got to find something to do with Pierre Gasly. Because they own him.
Mm-hmm.
They can't put him in GP2
Yeah.
because he's won that. What are they going to do with a driver that they don't rate well enough to put in a Toro Rosso at the moment? But they've got to find something to do with him, otherwise they're just paying him to sit round.
No, it's dead easy. Well, he'll do what every driver's done in that situation. He'll do what Jolyon Palmer did. He'll have a few Fridays and he'll travel with the team.
He'll replace Danny Kvyat
Yeah.
if Kvyat has another breakdown.
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't.
I have no doubt in my mind that if Kvyat performs how he's performed now, Gasly will be in that car before the end of the year.
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's a brave decision, but yeah.
Considering there's less than a month to go.
Sorry, by the end of next year. But see, the thing is, right, Mercedes can't buy Sainz out of his contract because, like, cash, like monies, Red Bull have all of it.
So do Mercedes.
Yeah, but they
so-
don't. They don't need Mercedes money.
Thing is, and here's something else that's interesting to think about as well. On a corporate level, outside of Formula One, Mercedes and Renault have a pretty good relationship when it comes to road cars and things like that. They tend to work quite well together.
Yeah.
They're on the board of European safety NCAP members as well. You know, they set the standards for safety in cars that you and I drive. You know, all cars basically that are built in Europe conform to the standards set by those two companies and others as well. Is it beyond the realms of possibility that Nico Hülkenberg could be pulled out of that Renault contract for lots of money? Because Renault also have all of the money.
I think he could be if Mercedes wanted him enough. if Mercedes looked at all the drivers and said Hulkenberg is head and shoulders above anyone else,
Yeah.
they could get him out
Lewis,
of that
here's
contract.
your new teammate. His name's Nico.
Yeah. We don't even have to change the overalls, Dave.
It's got Nico with a German flag on it. It's brilliant.
I've got his shoe here.
I mean, I'm not being funny. Like, even look at them if you squint. We can use some of the old pictures in some cases.
But
Just
yeah,
ask him to squat a little bit. He's a bit taller than the old one.
Renault have said, no, you're not getting him. And it looks at the moment like Mercedes have said, okay, we're not getting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because there's lots of other good choices.
Yeah.
So that's who you think it should be.
That's who I think it should be.
Who do you think it will be?
Now, this depends on whether at some point after Suzuka, Nico Rosberg said to Toto, look, just a heads up, I'm possibly thinking about stepping back if things go my way this year. But, you know, no decision until after the season's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
So-
He did say that after Suzuka, that's when he thought that
that's
he
when
might.
he started thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if the team knew anything about it, then they may have chosen Ocon to go into the Force India rather than Verline,
Yeah.
bearing in mind that there may be a seat in the Mercedes coming up.
I have a slight theory about that, though. I don't believe that they've allowed Nico to win a championship knowing
that he's going to go.
he'll go. They would have rathered a four-time world champion in Lewis Hamilton than a one-time champion in Nico Rosberg that says thanks for the trophy, ciao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicky Lauda
or-
actually pretty much said the same thing. He was like, this is a PR nightmare for us.
Yeah.
Because we had a world champion who were going to put all over our posters and be there for next year. Look at us, we're the team with the 2 world champions, and we're going to be, we're going to be everywhere. We're going to be right at the front. Watch Mercedes. We're going to use it for everything. And then it's just Nico's like, now see you later.
And and this is exactly why Fernando Alonso makes all the sense in the world, because that void that they had, which they would have had, with PR and fucking spin and all that stuff, that our proven world champion, our new world champion would.
But
make
he's not a
double
Mercedes world champion, though, is he? That's the thing.
Yeah, but no, listen, because that void that is left by the Mercedes world champions will be filled by, it's like Senna and Prost again. Senna and Prost, the best 2 drivers of their generations in the same team in Mercedes.
If
Wouldn't-
Mercedes is the best.
Wouldn't you go for
Ka-ching,
Wouldn't you go for Vettel then, who is German and who has 4 world championships?
No, because I don't think it means as much. I don't think that's got the gravitas behind it that sticking Alonso and Hamilton in the car. Because can you imagine
To the
interviews?
racing fans, Alonso, with his 2 world titles, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 world titles, and could have had a load more with just a very few more points.
Yeah.
8
Uh,
points away
obviously-
from being
obviously
a
the
5-time
better
world
driver.
champion.
Mm-hmm.
But to the non-fan,
Yeah.
Vettel 4 world championships, got to be a better driver than Alonso 2 world championships.
I'd argue that
Vettel-
it's the racing fans that they're aiming at, though.
Remember, Vettel's not particularly popular in Germany, not as popular as Michael Schumacher was
No.
when he went on his run of world championships.
How popular is he compared to Alonso?
I
Probably more popular in Germany, I would imagine. I don't know.
no, but Formula One's a global market.
How
Alonso's-
popular is he to people who might buy Mercedes cars?
That's the job for the Mercedes PR team to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing team, rather.
No, but don't forget
Market research that.
if you're marketing it to say like the Mercedes-Benz is the driver's car and we have the best drivers in the world driving our cars. I can't look past it. If he can get out of his
Hamilton
contract,
and Alonso did an advert together, didn't they, in 2007? Was that for Tag Heuer, or was it for...
Yeah, I think it was for Tag Heuer, where they kept tripping each other up and
In
kept
the
trying,
hotel?
Yeah, and kept trying to outdo each other, which they kind of did on track.
And they did a Vodafone advert in 2008 with Kovalainen and Hamilton, didn't they, with McLaren? I don't remember seeing anything quite so pally and friendly with Rosberg and Hamilton.
No.
But then again, not McLaren.
Anyway,
Mercedes.
Can I finish what I was saying?
Yes,
Yes.
sorry, Dan.
Talking
Make
about
your
being
point, Dan.
Yeah, so also there was Hamilton threatening to resign after Spain, allegedly. So they may have kept Verline in the manor rather than fast-tracking him to Force India on the basis that they thought there was a good chance there was going to be a main team seat for him, and they wanted both drivers pushed forward. So,
Well, they pretty much admitted they were expecting Verline to be driving the Mercedes in Monaco.
yeah, so
I've
they
not said anything for a while. I just wanted to remind you all that I'm still here.
Hi, Paul.
so either Verline or Ocon is my answer. And which one depends on how much they knew beforehand. Whether they kept Verline back to push him forward, or whether they pushed Ocon forward because they think he's the better driver, and they'll push him even more forward now.
Or as this picture shows, Rio Haryanto. Quite a good Photoshop there of Rio Haryanto.
He looks like a bobblehead.
Well, I think he's got quite a large head anyway, hasn't he, Rio Haryanto?
Isn't that just proportionate because he's quite a small person?
Might be.
He's probably got like a normal size head on a little Asian body.
But there's one thing to remember. His name is Rio, but his driving ain't that grand.
Yes, that is true.
Fucking hell. Did you have to get the defibrillator on that gag? I think it's all everyone's making good points, but I think as long as we can all
But
settle
who's
on
made the best?
Jensen.
Which was I think that would make it a safe bet for.
I think the Mercedes board might make the most convincing point.
Yeah, they will. I think that's a safe bet, and I think also what you got to remember with, and I'm sure. Oh, that's a microphone.
That was a microphone going thung. I just collided the laptop into the microphone.
Sorry about that. That's fine. But the only thing that, not the only thing, but one thing that Jenson Button fans can take from Mercedes might choose him is that Andrew Shovlin's part of the big meeting today. Now, Andrew Shovlin's now a senior engineer at Mercedes, but way back in 2009, when that Brackley team was born, Andrew Shovlin was Jenson Button's race engineer.
And he was his race engineer all through Honda as well.
Was he?
Yeah.
So there you go. He's now one of the senior people. So Shovlin knows Jenson very well. There are still people at that team that know Jenson very well. Jenson knows the factory, but not Mercedes. Obviously, he left just as it became Mercedes. It wouldn't be a terrible idea for it to be Jenson Button.
Part of the thing as well, and I'm sure Shovlin was part of this, the Brawn thing, because Jenson didn't get paid for Brawn, I don't believe. I think that was part of the deal to get the team back going.
Yeah.
And the other part of the deal, the thing was, Jenson paid out of his own pocket, the same as maybe Rubens Barrichello did, for key members of the team. Yeah, and I think Shovlin was one of those people that Jenson paid for that year.
Quite possibly. I'm not sure how well that.
I'm pretty sure
that was documented. So let's all pick one driver then that we think is going to replace Nico, and then see if we can collectively decide on any one that the four of us. I've already said mine, and I've actually gone as far as to put money on it.
I think I'm going Bottas because the engine sweetening deal will swing it for Williams.
Yeah,
because they need the money. They will be able to pick up someone else because
Felipe Nasr possibly.
That's the thing, because they have a former test driver available in Nasr, so they're not going into next season with two new drivers, or two rookie drivers, I should say.
Yeah.
At least Nasr's got testing and race experience.
Bernie Eccleston wants a Brazilian driver on the grid.
Yeah, desperately, because that's the largest single market for Formula One is in Brazil.
Yeah, and then Williams can say, we're the team that saved 2 Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I tell you what, by fuck, that'd be a step backwards for Williams again, though. They would hemorrhage points.
They'd hemorrhage points, but they'd be mopping the hemorrhaging up with huge wadges of cash.
Yeah, no, but it's not what's happening to Williams. Like, I know, you could see it coming, but from what they spoke when they started their ascension again, it's not really.
Oh, the maintaining third place ascension, which got them in fifth this.
No,
year.
but not even that. You know, when they were second in the championship, when they turned up with the second best car that year.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, Williams is back." This, that, and the other. For them to drop their sort of star driver essentially and take Felipe Nasr on, it's not what you call a statement of intent, is it?
No, it isn't.
Not
That's the
really.
Only thing. That's the only thing that I think would.
And the fact, I just don't think Mercedes would want Bottas.
No,
I think, and I've said this before, I think you might be not underrating Nasr.
No, I see. I think he deserves to be in Formula One because of what he did in GP2, but and he probably deserves a slightly better car. But I mean, Nasr's not really the deal here because he wouldn't be selected for Mercedes, and the top and bottom here is I don't think Bottas is good enough for the Mercedes drive.
And I also don't think that Bottas is worth to Mercedes what that engine discount is worth to Williams. I don't think the engine discount that Mercedes could offer to Williams is enough of an offset, if you know what I mean, for them losing Bottas.
Yeah.
Let's not
That's
forget.
why, so that's Paul's pick, Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah. Ferrari already knocked back Bottas, so why should Mercedes pick up what Ferrari didn't want?
Yeah. Dan, if you have to pick one,
Ocon.
Esteban Ocon.
Yep.
To be pulled out of his Force India contract.
Yep.
And put straight into the Mercedes main team.
Yeah.
With only 9 races under him.
With only 9 races under him.
Wow, that would be a big jump. It would be a big jump. Lee?
It's between Jensen and Alonso for me.
The 2 McLaren drivers.
I don't know.
Your heart says Jensen, but your head says Alonso,
No.
or you're not sure?
No, I don't, because realistically, I think Jensen makes all the sense in the world for them. I think he's on form. If Lewis is on it and he gets his head together next year. No, not that he didn't have his head together this year, but I'm just saying, if everything being right, he's faster than Jensen, and he could win the races where Jensen's coming second to him.
Well, Jensen said...
I don't know, Jensen Button is very good with a very good car underneath.
Yeah.
And the Mercedes is a very good car.
Jensen said this week that the most difficult teammate he's ever had to race in a race situation is Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And the most difficult teammate he's ever had to beat in qualifying was Lewis Hamilton.
See, the other thing with Jensen is the fact that Nico Rosberg beat Lewis this year. I know there was problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was beating him like regularly in races. When there wasn't problems as well. If you stuck Nico Rosberg and Jensen Button in the same team, I would half expect Jensen Button to come out on top of that battle over the course of a season.
I'm going to throw another one into the mix, and this is definitely one that hasn't been talked about. I never even thought of looking in this direction before.
Hang on, Chris hasn't.
Well, I said Paul the Rester.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to say Jensen Button.
Yeah.
Because he's my bae.
IndyCar champ Simon Pagenaud.
To jump straight into Formula One, and you more or less need them to be in the top 2.
Didn't harm Jacques Villeneuve.
Different time. Different time, and it's
Villeneuve is from just before they split, isn't he?
Yeah.
Before Indian Champ became a
No, because it was still while it was Champ Car.
yeah.
What was the situation around his hiring? I can't remember that. Was it anything similar to this?
Coulthard was off. Coulthard had signed for McLaren.
Yeah, no, but they were after. Williams had been after Villeneuve for a long time, like Montoya.
Well, Villeneuve was part of the Montoya deal because Williams gave Penske, Chip Ganassi, whatever team it was.
Yeah.
They gave him Montoya for a year,
Yeah, because that was after he finished in Formula 3000, wasn't it? Montoya was in Formula 3000 and went
Yeah.
to Indy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like I know what you mean, but you couldn't expect that. And like let's face it, take Jacques Villeneuve out of the equation. In modern memory, what IndyCar driver has done really well in Formula One? That's made the switch.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
Alex, no.
No. Alex Zanardi can do anything apart from drive a Formula One car. No.
Nearly put a foot in it.
No.
Wonderful, inspirational man.
But would they look to IndyCar, do you think?
No.
Not Mercedes, no.
'Cause, I mean, admittedly, Mercedes have no involvement in it because there's only two engine manufacturers in there, and it's Honda and Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Let's face it,
I think if there
Haas
wasn't
won't.
so many decent choices in Formula One, then they might. But
a lot of the decent choices may not be available, that's the main issue.
Let's face it. Well, see, again, I'm thinking of Vettel now of that Red Bull deal. If their 4-time world champion turned around with a year left on his contract and said, I don't want to drive for you anymore, I want to drive the red car, and Christian Horner said, well, you can't keep a driver where they don't want to be. That means that Mercedes have probably got a pool, considering the fact they've won the last 3 world championships in dominant form. I would say they have a pool of every driver in the world to choose from.
Yeah.
Niki Lauda has said actually this afternoon, Monday afternoon, half the grid has been in contact with either me or Toto to offer their services.
I'm sure they
he
have.
was having a bit of a joke, I think, but yeah, he's
not saying which half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying
the back half.
yeah, absolutely. But that's going to be a busy phone call. A busy few phone calls to make before they even come anywhere close to a decision. They probably will announce it 20 minutes after we stop recording, and
I've got a feeling they're not going to announce it before Friday.
why?
Because Dan signed for Mercedes.
Because Dan.
That's the day that my press conference is. No, there was a tweet by Natalie Pinkman from Sky.
Yep.
Advertising her interview with Toto, where he's giving his thoughts on who the new driver's going to be, which will be going out on Thursday.
Right.
Now,
That sounds like a press conference.
no, this is a pre-recorded interview.
Oh, right, okay.
So one that he's doing tonight, but it'd be a bit of a pain in the ass move for Mercedes to do to a major broadcaster of saying, here, let's spend some time doing a nice interview about what I'm thinking we could do as our new driver that you're going to have to pull because we'll have announced it by then.
Unless it's going to be announced tomorrow, and what they're recording tonight is going to be him talking about who they've signed. And then, but there's a clause in it say, but you can't put out before we've done our thing.
I do believe that given that all of the betting's been closed on who the new driver's going to be,
Yeah.
I think something's either been signed or is
Imminent.
is with the lawyers for them to dot the I's and cross
Because
the T's.
they're not going to wait till the new year.
No, they
They
can't.
have to do it before Christmas. And the reason they have to do it before Christmas, as I said before, is they need somebody to get to Brackley, get in that simulator with that new next year's Mercedes, the W08, I assume it'll be called, and be ready for when that car is physically ready to step into it, no problems, in February.
Well, don't forget there'll be seat fittings and stuff like that. The minute that driver is signed, he'll be at Mercedes for a seat fitting.
Yeah, he will absolutely.
I'm just looking at the
Let's have a
wording
look
on
at
this and wondering if...
Dan's just passed me Natalie Pinkham's. Is this an Instagram post?
yeah, that's what she put up on Twitter, and I'm calling it Twitter because even though it links to Instagram.
Social media.
Social media.
Who will replace Nico Rosberg? Find out Toto Wolff's thoughts on the big decision this Thursday eve. And then hashtag pensive face taps. To be fair, Toto looks very relaxed in the picture, doesn't he?
Could
Toto
that
always
be
looks relaxed.
an interview about who they have
signed.
already decided but not announced yet?
Well, it's
I'd be surprised. It's not impossible.
Well, to be honest with you, if the interview's happening tonight, you know what Sky are like. They'll be all over it for the next 2 days. Find out our exclusive announcement on Thursday evening as to who, you know what I mean? It's going to be...
Well, it may not be an exclusive announcement if the press release is being made
Oh, I see.
at midday on the Thursday.
also something's got to give there, because think about it. How stupid would Toto Wolff go if he's talking about what driver he thinks should get the seat? He says, "Well, I think Esteban Ocon should get it," and then the day after, Fernando Alonso. You know,
Oh, he's not going to say, "I think this person should get it."
well, what is he going to have a conversation about having a conversation?
Yeah, he's going to be...
No, he's going to be saying, "Well, Esteban Ocon is a Mercedes driver, very, very talented. That's why he's gone
But
up
he's
to
one
Force
for the
India.
future.
Yeah.
But definitely one for the future. Might not be one for now. Who knows?"
Yeah. Question. Tell me what you think about this. The
Alf Garnett.
Oh, early noughties flash animation. Yay.
I forgot what I was going to say now. Right, why? If it was just going to be a conversation about having the driver, why would it go out on Thursday? Why wouldn't they just film it and then put it out tomorrow?
Well, is that when Natalie Pinkman's Sky One show is?
No, Friday usually. That's when the F1 show is, isn't it?
Yeah, so you probably... I mean, there might be a Formula 1 special already on.
Oh, this is in the midweek report.
Yeah, but
Thursday's not midweek.
Yeah, but you don't need a midweek report when there's no race.
No, Wednesday's the Formula 1 midweek report. So yeah, this is something that's being arranged for Mercedes, which suggests to me
Thursday
is the day.
Thursday's going to be the day. Can I just point out I'm not free to do a podcast this Friday night?
Okay.
Well, I am, but I'll end up being single.
Right, okay.
So,
I don't mind.
what, me being single?
Yeah.
It was you that introduced me and my girlfriend.
I don't care.
Lee's willing to make that sacrifice.
Oh, that's big of you.
What about Thursday?
Depending
If
on
the news breaks.
If the news breaks, I will see what I can do for Thursday.
Well, there's not a whole lot to talk about when it breaks, is there?
No, we'll just put a story up.
Yeah.
There's who's going to take the seat of the person who's just taken the seat of Nico Rosberg.
And if it's not a current F1 driver, that's going to be a very short show.
Yeah.
And are we gonna do a bit of mailbag?
We
Little
are.
Sorry, just quickly
Just a little bit.
before we move on, because what we were saying is, I think it might be worth the listeners knowing as well that when we were going through and looking at like odds and stuff by saying the betting's closed on who's going to get the drive.
It is, yeah.
I happen to notice that on Bet365, Jenson Button is 10-1 for the World Drivers' Championship in 2017. 2017.
Without a car.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is about that, I believe if you look at that thing, I believe Felipe Massa isn't on that.
Well, yeah,
Well,
he's officially retired.
if you
and
want
is
to
out.
put a tenner on Felipe Massa, I will take that £10 off you. I'll give you 10-1
Yeah, but
odds.
sorry, it's 20-1 Button is for the World Championship. 20-1.
Well,
would you
I'll give
get-
you 25-1 on Massa.
Yeah.
just
So I'm not trying to hammer odds out, but I'm just saying, isn't that
Dan's Betting Emporium.
Isn't that
I won't take any
Weird.
bets on drivers who are likely to be in the championship.
But on Bet365, you can get 100-1 on Jenson Button and 200-1 on Nico Rosberg,
for what?
World Drivers' Champion next year.
Well, that was 20-1 this afternoon.
There are some people that like to throw money away.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, this afternoon when I checked that on the app, because I expected like 100-1, 200-1, something like that. I thought, fucking hell, if he hasn't got a drive and they're going to give me 500 quid to go on, it's worth a fiver. It's sort of something stupid like that. Then I saw 20-1. I thought, well, fuck,
In that case, go on Betfair. It's 100-1 on that.
What?
Go on Betfair. It's 100-1 on
Yeah.
that. I can't see it. I can't see it being Button.
No,
Also, for the benefit of listeners listening on Tuesday or later, when I'm sure the driver will have been announced.
Thursday or later.
Tuesday or later.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're recording this Monday night and don't know that at midnight they're going to announce the driver in a surprise announcement.
Yeah, which would be rubbish for us.
Although, if they do announce it at midnight, I'll still be editing then, so I can drop a little insert in.
Do you know what? It will be tomorrow. It will be tomorrow, and that's what that's what the thing is. Toto will be talking about what their announcement is. What they're going to make an announcement later, probably tomorrow morning, because it's usually 9 o'clock, isn't it? News drops like that. There'll be an announcement.
Well,
normally.
It was midday when the retirement was announced.
It was about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, but that was the. Yeah.
I was asleep at the time.
No, but that was actually because he did it on stage, didn't he, when he was giving his trophy?
Well, it was a Mercedes press conference before the prize giving.
Ah, right. But yeah, they'll drop. The news will drop tomorrow, and then Sky will build all week going. Toto Wolff is his interview, and the interview he's doing right now will be to explain his decision.
Could well be.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, Paul. Paul's pulling a face at me. I'm just wondering if I've got all of that wrong, because if you think about how long it's taken drivers who are with a team they're happy with to sign contracts, imagine how long it will take to do the lawyering on a driver who's having to be wrenched away from a team.
Didn't take Vettel very long.
As far as we know. Anyway,
can we move on?
see.
We'll move on to the mailbag because
we could talk about this all fucking night.
and
have done.
there's more theories going around this table than are in podcasts that you listen to.
yes.
Mailbag. Rob Higgins, and this is a story that we missed out in the news.
Oh,
because we missed a news story.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hi all. Can't believe Hamilton's not been punished for his driving in Abu Dhabi.
Well, we could discuss it
Nor
now.
can I.
So yes, we will merge the mailbag with news 2.
Yeah, I think it was Paddy Lowe who said he's not going to bother punishing Lewis for his driving in Abu Dhabi. They've drawn a line under it.
They've got bigger fish to fry at the minute, obviously. But the thing is, yeah, okay, they didn't like what he was doing at the time, but they still got the result that they wanted. It just wasn't how they wanted it to be done.
What that tells anyone who's potentially driving for Mercedes is it doesn't matter if you ignore team orders, as long as the team get a result that they're going to be okay with.
Yeah.
I think it's a case. I think this is actually a case of they are not publicly discussing the discussions that they've had with Lewis, and it was a very firmly worded, "Do that again, and we will make an example of you."
Do you know what? I reckon it would be a completely different situation if it wasn't Mercedes that let Lewis down this year. Mercedes, essentially, the reason he was in the position he was in was because their car kept going pop on him. And I think that has to come into it somewhere.
Do you realise if Lewis's tactics had worked, we would be talking about a whole load of different things, because we wouldn't be talking about Rosberg's retirement.
Nope.
No, he would have carried on.
Yeah.
We'd probably still be debating the sportsmanship of winning a world championship like that.
Yeah.
And we'd be talking about who was going to get the last Manor and Sauber seats.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have that fucking vain thread of hope that Jensen's going to land himself in either a Mercedes or a McLaren next year.
You're just going to be saying that right up until qualifying in Australia, aren't you?
I think Jensen will be in a McLaren next year. I think I'm saying voting for Mercedes because that's where I want to happen, but I think it will be Alonso. I think Button will go to McLaren.
Yep.
But Rob continues, I don't disagree with what he did. I'd have done the same, but he put 2 fingers up at the team and went against a team order. I know I'd be up in front of a disciplinary panel doing that. Wish a team would show its teeth to a driver one day.
I agree with him.
I agree.
Yeah.
With him.
Jensen was right to do what he did, but he
Lewis.
should. Lewis was.
Yeah.
No, Jensen was right to do what he did.
What, just pull over and retire?
Yeah, retiring was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's been a long career. He's won a world champions.
Dan's not going to leave this house.
Lewis was also
Don't
right
talk
to do
about this in my gap.
Lewis was also right to do what he did, but he should have persuaded the team beforehand that their agreement was the drivers are allowed to race.
Yeah, it was handled badly by the team.
Yeah.
It was.
But once they gave the order, he ought to have listened to it. He ought to have respected it.
Don't forget, like, even when they gave Lewis the order, the fact that it's come out today that Paddy Lowe has given another order to tell Lewis to slow down, and Paddy Lowe refused to give the second order, then that shows that inside the team, they didn't blame Lewis for what he was trying to do.
I think they knew what he was doing.
I think from what I read of that interview, the reason Paddy Lowe didn't give that second command to speed up a bit was that he knew Lewis wasn't going to speed up a bit if he gave the second command, and so it would only make him look a bit stupid.
Let me just bring this into the equation. Lee, on Friday night, you described Mercedes as being like a swan.
Yes.
All graceful on the surface and paddling like buggery underneath where you don't see it. Lewis has already threatened to walk away from the team once this season, and they practically had to beg him not to quit after Spain. If they'd have come out and disciplined Lewis now, what would the chances have been of him saying, "Oh, sod this for a lark, I'm not having this," and then all of a sudden, Mercedes, reigning World Constructors Champions, have the number 1 and number 2 Drivers League table champion things, it's late. Oh my God, they've got no drivers for next season.
If Nico would have won the World Championship and Lewis and Lewis walked away from the team, Nico wouldn't have retired.
I agree with
yeah,
that.
but you've got to bear in mind the timeline as we have it. Nico's gone.
Yeah.
Then, 2 days after Nico goes, the team have a go at Lewis for what he did in Abu Dhabi. He then says, "Right, sod you, I'm going as well."
Yeah. Well, but again, we'll talk about it again. This goes back to what I'm saying about them. They won't get somebody that can't challenge Lewis, because I think the best way to keep Lewis in tow in a team is with a teammate that can keep him in tow. I think if they give him a Massa, I don't think he'll do what Schumacher did.
He won't perform to his best.
No, but he won't do what Schumacher did and hone himself and hone what goes on around the team. He won't be, and he'll abuse the power he's given. Whereas I think Fernando Alonso would keep him in check.
This leads on to a Facebook message that we got from Stephen Humphries, actually, on this very subject.
Hello, Stephen.
Do you think Lewis will have any say in who partners him next year? No.
Yeah,
he has publicly said he doesn't want any say. He doesn't care who it is as long as there's someone who'll push him. Which means, yes, he'll sulk and throw his toys out of the pram unless it's exactly who he wants.
He won't get any influence, but he will want to be heard. Basically, that's probably the easiest way to say it.
And I think he should be heard because the team dynamics matter.
Of course they do.
And if it's someone who he feels he can't work with, then that would be quite a bad idea to bring them in over those objections.
All roads lead to Button.
In that scenario.
Yeah.
Or Heikki Kovalainen, and that ain't happening.
No, they want to bring a driver in. Got one here from De Gasman.
You scored minus points, Heikki. How is that possible?
Heikki is the only person to have partnered Lewis Hamilton and not won a World Drivers' Championship.
Yep. True say.
He won a race once.
Doesn't it show? It really shows.
Oh dear. Next one from De Gasman. I think Nico will become the Rosbergian ambassador to the States. When he gets here with the family, Trump will determine he's here illegally and try to deport them. Unfortunately, no one will be able to determine what country he's actually from, so they'll all be jailed in Guantanamo Bay together.
Well, that's a bit harsh. Dear, isn't Nico the president of Rosbergia anyway? So therefore, he's exempt from.
Yeah, I think he's got diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, diplomatic immunity, as Toto might say.
He's a bit like maybe it just turns out he's a bit like Sylar from Heroes.
Maybe.
And he'll just integrate another flag, and then all of a sudden he'll be American.
Actually, that's a good argument for Verline replacing him because he's already multinationality.
Yeah, they're already used to it. We'd have to we'd have to find a new national anthem.
I think
Verlinia.
Minutes. You know, if you had the two personalities of Verline and Lewis Hamilton in the same team, that minutes. Fuck Australia. Like, we'll be talking about this in Destin. They'll be taking each other off. Where they would
They'll have both quit the team by the end of Barcelona.
I'm more coffee coloured. No, I'm more coffee coloured. But you're more of a rich roast.
Oh, God. Lanny Ness, long-time listener.
Hello, Lanny.
His thoughts on who gets the Mercedes seat. He says, I bet right now Verline gets it because the better drivers are tied up in contracts. And if it doesn't work out, well, they can move him back down a la Kvyat.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to what I said with the 1 year thing. If they can't get their man for 2017, they'll probably have to wait till 2018.
Which Lanny's also said, saying Vettel's contract with Ferrari is up at the end of 2017. I bet Verline gets a seat now and Vettel replaces him the year after.
That would destroy Pascal Verline now.
And the other thing is, it's not like Mercedes have a proper junior team. So let's say they install one of the new drivers in the team.
Yeah.
Lewis is on pole, Pascal's 12th, and this happens for 4 races in a row. It's not like they can go, right, we'll stick him from Mercedes Rosso in
Mercedes Rosso.
We'll stick him from Mercedes Rosso in the main team now and put Pascal back. The decision they make is fucking final, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
As final as any contract is.
Yeah, no, but they won't. They won't have an option to stick anybody else in because there's no one else there.
I wouldn't mind betting that a team like Mercedes, as efficient and German as they are, have procedures in place for if one of their drivers did walk away, wasn't able to race.
The Mercedes team is about as German as I am.
Austrian.
Or Rosberg. It's about as German as Rosberg.
Let's see what else have we got. Move over to the emails now, and I am on the complete wrong page.
That won't help.
I am good at this. Cody, I'm hoping I've got this right. Coretti.
Nice name, fast name.
Yeah. Lee's suggestion or idea that a button with more power was available. That we were talking about with Sean on Friday, the push to pass. I wonder if you guys are familiar with IndyCar, despite shitting on the series so often. I do watch it occasionally. They've got a push to pass, which is exactly what you guys described. The solution predates DRS. Yeah. I think Sean got it right. If they're going to have that push to pass facility in Formula One cars, only the driver and the team know how many times they've got left.
Yeah.
There is a sort of a push to pass engine mode, isn't there? Sort of button that they have on the steering wheel now, but as a replacement for DRS, like old KERS. That would make.
You'd need something you could use for a set amount of time or a set amount of times. That
during the race, though, not during a lap.
But also that, I know Sean was saying it's like the old turbo days where you could just whack the engine up and use more fuel, and then that turns it tactically. Yeah. But the way I'd look at it would be to have a separate compartment within the fuel tank. So you had your race fuel, which is what you start with, which is what everybody starts with, and then an allotted amount of fuel that you could use for your push to pass.
So you get 5 litres of boost fuel.
So it means everyone's still on the same on the same level playing field when it comes to engine fuel. Mm-hmm. But you so you're going to use it because you might as well use it. But you have that fucking litre.
Or you can choose not to use it because 5 litres of fuel less means you're X amount lighter, which means you might not need to use it as much.
Yeah.
Absolutely, give them that option though.
Yeah, but if you're keeping it secret, then you have to make it that all cars have it, and it's kind of mandatory.
Yeah.
But the data from how much has been used isn't made available.
That's what fucked KERS up, really, to a certain extent, is the fact that Adrian Newey refused to put it in his car.
Yeah, but it's an Adrian Newey car. He didn't need it. It was just that much faster anyway.
Well, yeah, he won all the championships when KERS was there, and he didn't have the button.
Yeah. Enrique Villarreal, got a question for you, Lee.
Go on, football team, man.
With Rosberg gone next year and Gutierrez most probably out as well, which driver is going to end up on your shit list?
I don't know. We'll wait till Australia.
I'd like to nominate Romain Grosjean back.
Maybe it's a good question.
I mean, you could go for the easy answer, which is Ericsson.
I was gonna say, yeah, but you see, to be perfectly honest, Ericsson's so harmless. It's like
picking a fight with a cushion.
Yeah.
Actually, saying that, I've got a scar on my wrist that I got from a zip on a cushion, so sometimes they bite back.
Well, hey, it's been proven many times you can take out a sick nana with a cushion. But I'm not sure. Maybe Bottas, if he doesn't perform.
Unless he goes to Mercedes.
Regardless of which team he's in, I would say.
Well, he won't become Mercedes.
If he goes to Mercedes and doesn't perform, he's going to be on everyone's shit list.
Yeah.
Especially Toto's.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Bottas, because I feel he's been a waste of... Well, Williams has been a waste of a team, but I still feel that both those drivers wasted a car this year. Well,
Yeah, I think you might be right. He's also got another question. He says it's for all four of us, but as we already know what Lee's answer's going to be, then I guess it's for me, Chris, and Dan. Because
Jensen? Is that what my answer would be?
Yes. Where does Nico land on the list of one-time world champions post 1990? Those being Mansell, Hill, Villeneuve, Kimi, and Jensen.
No, last.
I'd put him in a similar place to Mansell.
Really?
Yeah.
Tried for years and finally got it.
Yeah.
With the car.
Well,
Are we talking about drivers here or just the championship?
Well,
drivers, because again and again about Mansell, you heard he's got to do it this year or he's never going to do it.
No one's ever said that about Nico.
We've said
that about Nico.
No, but apart from this year,
we said it last year.
We said it last year.
No, we didn't. We never thought he was actually going to win the championship.
Pretty sure we said it last year.
I didn't go into last year thinking he was going to. I didn't go into this year thinking he was going to win a world championship.
No, I didn't either. Admittedly.
I don't know. One-time world champions are a strange breed because Jensen had one car which he could win a championship in and won it.
Jacques Villeneuve was a weird one because he came into Formula One. He was really good, and then he lost out to Damon in his first season, and then in his second season he won his world championship. And then after that, when he didn't have the car,
Williams felt
it was after Williams lost the Renault engine.
Yeah. But then he went to BAR and other teams.
Well,
finished at Sauber.
Well, BAR
laundered money.
Oh God,
almost.
BAR was flawed from the start. Remember Craig Pollock's great quote? I've said it before on the podcast. We're going to win our first race from pole position without using a Mechachrome engine. They didn't score any points. Jack didn't finish the first race of the season because the rear wing that was positioned just above his Mechachrome engine fell off.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was so scary. It was the worst place in Australia for that to happen as well.
Yeah, it was
on the racing circuit.
Yeah,
well, on the fastest part of the racing circuit. Yeah, he went.
But you wouldn't really want it to happen in the Outback, to be honest.
No,
it's a terrible club. I wouldn't like to lose a wing in there.
Oh, Manx jokes.
I know. Villeneuve. I think Williams losing the Mechachrome ended up with Mechachrome engines, ruined his career, and then he had another dog of a car in BAR.
And then Sauber.
And I mean, he got binned by what was effectively his own team.
Yeah.
That he was part of the setup of. And then he just sort of floated around and did nothing.
Pretty much.
Well, Button had him off, didn't he? That was why he lost his BAR drive, because Button fucking well and truly did him over the year they were teammates.
Yeah.
And then they replaced him with Sato.
Takuma Sato.
So,
yes.
Yeah. But I see Villeneuve's one of those people, like I believe Montoya should have had multiple world championships if he was given the opportunity, because I think he was good enough.
At least one.
Yeah, I think Villeneuve should have had more than one. I think he should have had two. I mean, I'm happy that Damon Hill won because I was a Damon Hill fan.
Yeah.
But for Jacques Villeneuve to come in completely green, saying himself that he'd never driven any of the circuits, and he learned how to. He was learning them on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the It wasn't the PlayStation. It was the Amiga.
No, it was PlayStation.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. PS1
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
It was PS. Yeah, PS1.
Yeah.
I thought the quote I read said he learnt it on the Amiga.
No. So, yeah, I just think I think he was better than his one championship suggests. Same as Kimi.
Yeah, well, no, Kimi's the opposite to Jacques Villeneuve. Kimi was always going to win a world championship, but he left it until 2007 to do it, and then really went off the boil to the point where Ferrari bought him out of the contract to get Alonso in, and then he came back and has just been.
He's been better than average sometimes. And
He was all right in when Lotus had a pretty good car.
He's been good this year.
Yeah, he's been
very
good this year.
Yeah,
But
he
for
has.
last few years up till that.
But Ferrari this year have been awful.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is, I think the car hasn't been quick, but it's clearly not been bad to drive.
No.
I think this is where, like, when you look at Kimi last year, where he couldn't keep the car on the track because there was just something
Back
with the
end kept
handling.
going,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that worries me for Kimi next year, because the reason he's got on with this year's car is because it's an Allison car.
Yeah, here's a left field suggestion. Kimi Raikkonen at Mercedes.
Very few people have said that.
That would be awesome.
I've got an even more left field one, which
He would be ideal, actually.
Yeah, he would.
Just like
Just get on with
internal politics. There.
But
that would be good. Even more left field came up when you were talking about Williams. Lance Stroll. Fuck taking another championship. How much do you reckon his dad will pay to get him in a Mercedes?
Again, Mercedes have got loads of cash. Mercedes don't need money.
they need a proven driver.
Yeah.
They could get like 300 million for a year. Easy.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, they
I
could
just want, like,
they
a tenth
they
of
could get
that.
seriously think about it money.
I mean, but you got,
And he is a racing driver.
he's paid 30 million for his Williams seat.
Yeah.
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 Surely they wouldn't stick an extra fucking zero on the end of it.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's F1. Money is king.
It's business.
And
at
here's,
the end of
here's
the
one
day.
for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, 300 million is 300 million, but how stupid would fucking Mercedes look if he kept throwing it into walls?
Yeah, exactly.
Whilst lying back on a bed of cash.
He could
Yeah.
do. I tell you what, I bet Pastor Maldonado did £3 million of 300 million pounds worth of damage.
Heck, put a performance clause in. He is a racing driver. He's won stuff.
No, I know that. So does
He is
Pastor
not
Maldonado.
not just a pay driver. He's got some merit to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking at that list of one-time Formula One champions and where does Rosberg rank among them, it's difficult to say because they've all had such different situations. I agree with Dan with like his story is like Nigel Mansell's. Tried for years, 206 starts I think it was for Nico Rosberg. He finally got his world championship.
100 and something before he got his first win.
Yeah, and Nigel
Very much like Nigel.
And Nigel Mansell is, I think, post 1960, the oldest driver to have won a Grand Prix when he came back and filled in for Williams the year that Senna died. And he filled in that last race. Because Coulthard couldn't do every race, could he? Coulthard was... There were a couple of races where Mansell came in.
Came in mid-season because he was there. He was there in France that season, I think.
Yeah, and I think it was the last season of the race when Hill and Schumacher had their oopsie.
Yeah.
And Mansell won the race. I think at 41 years old, he became the oldest driver since the 50s.
Yeah.
To win a race. So, and that was only 2 years after he won the title. So yeah, Mansell did wait for years. So it's difficult to really to put, a single world champions.
And it's too soon as well.
We don't know what he's going to be.
It's a week since...
It's a week since they retired, and in 2 years' time we might see...
No, it's a week since he won the championship.
It's a week since he won the championship. It's 3-4 days since he retired.
Give it 5 years and we'll have a bit
Well,
more
Let's see
perspective
what
on
he's
it.
like next year. I mean, he might still be working because let's be honest, he's still under contract at Mercedes. He might be working as just like an ambassador for them. He might appear on TV every now and again. Yeah, he's retired because he wants to be the family man. But he might appear on TV every now and again. Mercedes jumper. Do you know what I mean? Like Mika Hakkinen did for years after he retired. So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Can't rank him just yet.
One other email from Andreas Criseliu, long-time listener and first-time writer. Just emailing in to let Paul know that as a recent employee at Liverpool Airport, I was distraught, in capitals, to discover that no F1 is shown on Sundays. This has been a personal rant of mine. For the last 2 Brazilian Grand Prix, I've been sat in Liverpool Airport, missing the race, having to watch it when I get home.
But that's a rubbish place to go and watch the telly.
Well, it's a rubbish place to go watch the telly because they don't show F1.
Exactly.
Even though they've got something that claims to be a sports bar.
Watch telly in your house.
But I wasn't.
He
Sports
can't,
bar.
he can't catch a plane from his house.
That's a good point.
Sports bar often means football bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he says, believe me, this will get sorted, or I'll get sacked.
Well, Andreas, thank you very much
Yes.
for your note. We'll keep that in mind.
Let's see.
Yeah, and looking at the 2017 calendar, because I go to the same rock festival every November, guess what?
It's again.
Clashes
I'm
again.
missing the Brazilian Grand Prix again.
See, what we think is he's saying it will get sorted or I'm going to get sacked. And we think he's just going to go in and put Formula 1 on, where he's actually going to stroll in strapped with C4 and 2 Kalashnikovs.
In an airport? No, I'm not going down that route. I think that's about it for this week.
I think so.
Yeah, we will keep checking for any signs of decision from Mercedes.
If you hear anything before we do,
Let us know.
And if we have to do an emergency pod, we'll do our best to do it.
Yeah, if there's enough to talk about.
No promises.
Yeah,
but
if there's
we'll
enough
see.
to talk about, we will make every effort to talk about it.
Yeah.
Even if it's lousy quality and it's just 4 of us all on Skype or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work it out. If you want to get in touch, there's the Facebook page. You can follow us on Instagram if you look for 3 Legs 4 Wheels. I keep forgetting to mention that one. We've got the Twitter at 3 Legs 4 Wheels, and Lee is.
I'm at a total shunt.
You can email us 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and of course we're on Patreon as well. If you feel like donating anything from $1 a month upwards, extra rewards and extra podcast, just go to patreon.com and search for 3 Legs 4 Wheels on there, and you'll find us there. We'll be back next week with
news, hopefully.
Maybe some news, maybe a season review. We haven't got a clue because we're now completely winging it.
Ta-da!
Again.
As we've got some new listeners as well, I'm going to plug my other podcasts too while we're here. So if you happen to like pro wrestling, you can go and look for a Banter Club podcast or just Banter Club. And it's my weekly wrestling podcast. It usually goes up on a Friday.
And any American football fans, I do another one called 3 Legs 4th Down. You can find that on iTunes and at 3legs4thdown.com.
Yeah.
It's the numbers 3 and 4 in there.
Come and listen to us and help us validate our meagre existence.
You've used that one before. I think you need a new catchphrase.
I don't think I did. I don't think I've used that before.
Oh, you have.
Oh, you have.
Have I?
You really have.
I have. I've got a meagre existence.
At least someone listens to you.
And they're very grateful. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.